Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Navtastic, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Lisa Fernandes, and
I am Chris Jayawardena. Hello.
We're about to review A Visit to the Cemetery, an episode from Season 4 of Laverne and Shirley, directed by Dennis Klein and written by Deborah Leshin and David W. Duclawn. Just some facts about them, don't you, Chris?
Little bit. So, hey, Leshin and Duclawn again. After they were also of Look Before You Leap, the two mostly worked on episodes separately, covering Steppin' Out, Fake Out at the Stakeout, and Shirley's operation between the two of them. Deborah Leshin by this time had gone on to work on Rhoda, an experience that's enthusiastically covered in the book Mary and Lou and Rhoda and Ted and All the Brilliant Minds That Made the Mary Tyler Moore Show a Classic by Jennifer Cation Armstrong. So Deborah here returns for her second to last episode on Laverne and Shirley and will return once more in season 5. She would continue writing through the 1980s, but seemed to have stopped during the early 1990s. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to track any more information down past that point. As for David W. Duclawn, this is actually his final episode for the show until returning in 1980 as an executive script consultant for about a half dozen episodes. So that might be just kind of he helped brainstorm, may have done some punch-ups, whatever. As said, he continued in television, becoming another alum of Making It by Lowell Gans and Mark Rothman, and then going on to create Double Trouble and Punky Brewster. Woot! And then we have the return of Dennis Klein directing again. This is his last episode of the series as well, having had a run of 4 episodes throughout, including It's the Water, Steppin' Out, The Bully Show, and now A Visit to the Cemetery. He went on to direct an episode of Buffalo Bill, and then the also aforementioned One More Saturday Night for Tom Davis and Al Franken, but really nothing else besides that. His writing career is what picked up during the 1980s with multiple scripts for Buffalo Bill with Dabney Coleman, and his last credit was the 2012 TV movie The Producer, which I suspect might have been an unsold pilot, but I don't know. In any case, that's what I got for behind the scenes.
Awesome. And here's what the episode is about. Laverne bursts into the apartment in a tizzy, interrupting the boys' demonstration of their magic act upon Shirley and Carmine. A subsequent phone call from Frank causes Shirley to realize the DeFazios are fighting again. Shirley drags Laverne down to the pizza bowl to enact a truce between father and daughter, but even with Edna's help, Frank and Laverne continue to fight. Edna and Shirley soon discover, along with half of the pizza bowl, that Laverne and Frank are fighting because Laverne doesn't want to visit the cemetery to mark what would have been her mother's 50th birthday on the following Sunday. Shirley's attempt at convincing Laverne to go only results in Laverne shutting down even harder. Shirley then recruits a close and motherless friend, someone who can relate to Laverne's plight, resulting in a moving discussion. Will Laverne ever visit their mother's grave? What do you think of this episode?
That's better.
Yeah.
After the episode we will probably try not to talk about ever again. This was a breath of fresh air, and it was kind of, again, like Look Before You Leap. It was able to balance some elements that could be very cute and funny in the first act and then get very heavy, and it understood that cute can be funny, sweet can be funny, and not try to be making the jokes at the expense of someone, and that no matter what, if someone's going through something emotional, it's not funny to make fun of them, which I thought was very well handled. So it was good. I really liked this one.
Yes. Me too. This is another one of my favorite episodes. They manage to take everything Laverne's going through and make it relatable to the audience and make you feel something about the situation. And they do such a good job. Such a good job. Every single character serves a purpose in the episode, and it strings together gorgeously. It's just perfect. One of the most perfect episodes in the series run.
Mm-hmm. I do have a quick question before we get too far into things. Does the whole magic act with Lenny and Squid, does that ever come back?
No, sadly it does not, but they do a lot more. They do a lot of different things when it comes to talent-related acts. Both for the upcoming Shots Talent Show this season, and when we move to California, we'll get there when it comes to that. But the magic act is a one and done kind of thing.
That's a bummer, but it's great while it lasts. I love the Cloak of Mystery, courtesy of my bed.
I love the Great Squigini. I mean, come on, the King of Bondage. It's such a great line.
Oh God. And I love Carmine's response to, hey, he made her disappear. And then, and then this timing of that scream.
Cindy Williams' screams are legendary. And the way she just delivers them at full voice and with her chest put into it is fantabulous. She is always such a good screamer. Everything about this opening scene is adorable. I mean, Squiggy apparently didn't do this just to make out with Shirley. He's very flummoxed about the fact that he's there and kissing her. But he's not objecting at all.
Mm-hmm.
He's very confused about the fact that the rope did not let go when it was supposed to let go.
Right, so, and he can't remember the words, the magic words, yeah. And I was surprised. I think, okay, correct me if I'm wrong here, but when we were watching through this episode, and I pointed out you could see Lenny's navel, and you mentioned you hadn't noticed that before. Was that accurate?
I hadn't noticed it. Yeah, I've never noticed that before. I honestly never, ever, ever noticed that. So that was interesting.
Honey, my goodness, you're losing your touch.
Yes. That's because we haven't gotten to the point where he's slowly standing there in his underwear. That's coming in season 5. Anyway.
That's my girl.
God, I'd like to apologize to everybody who's listening to this podcast right now. Okay, I was going to say, I love Laverne's entrance is so comedic. The look on Penny Marshall's face. It just grabs a jacket and rings the buttons and stomps off. And it's so good. It's funny. And it impresses upon the audience that something horrible has happened.
Mm-hmm. And I love, and Squiggy's, punchline, don't be so, Laverne. I'll saw your legs off in the next act.
Yeah, in the finale. Yeah. And then Shirley trying to mom the situation up once again. Laverne, are you upset or is nature calling? And then the phone rings. Yep. Then Lenny goes, I think that's nature calling. Perfect.
And Cindy into the phone, and it's like, hello, and Squig right next to her, hello.
Yeah. And then she gets all mad at him. He goes, what? I did that instinct. I'm sorry. Didn't really do it. Second nature. And then Shirley lies horribly to Frank, saying that Laverne's not rotating the tires, and the boys make fun of her. And
they're such tattletales sometimes.
Yeah, liar, you liar. That's just their little kidness coming out in a positive way in this particular incident. It's a cute one, a cute little moment. Yep. I love that the magic words are get out. Of course, the magic words are get out.
This woman is gifted.
Yeah, this one is gifted. And all Laverne has to do is shout at once and the rope just wilts off the bodies.
Yep. I'm kind of curious how they pulled off that effect. If it was one of them tied up, was holding on to it, and then just really let it go. But if they did it very subtly. It was well done. I just had a thought. Fishing wire. If you kind of tie it with just enough and you pull the fishing wire back, because you notice it kind of falls off with quite a bit of force. So
yeah. It's possible that it was Velcroed on somehow. I don't know quite how they did it. That would be something interesting to find out from props. I'm not entirely sure what's up.
Is any of the prop department of Laverne and Shirley currently listen to our show? Please contact us at 9after9pod@gmail.com.
Talk to us. We want to talk to you. I love that once they get rid of the boys and they kick Carmine out, Carmine takes a rope and he'll be using it on Shirley later, apparently, which is, well, interesting.
Oh, God, I did not. I didn't catch that. Okay.
Yeah, he says, I'm going to take the rope with me. You didn't notice that?
I forgot about that. I was too concerned about Laverne, but goodness gracious. And also I was probably too, I guess kick him out by Carmine. That's my note. That's my note. Oh,
He's
no.
not offensive in this episode. We have to give him a break in this episode.
All right, fine. That'll be my last remark about him. All right. Okay.
He doesn't do anything useful or anything negative. His presence is charming. Kudos to Eddie Mecca and the writers.
Right. And he was sweetly kissing Shirley. She was obviously super into it, so he was being a good boy. Okay.
Yeah, but he does say he's going to take the rope with him, and they're going to use it later, apparently, to tie themselves together and then make out. So So chaste. Tell me more about this chaste relationship.
Right. Yes. Please tell us. We're dying to know how that works, and also we want to take notes.
Yeah, but I love the boys made the magic word "get out," just so they would know how to react if the audience didn't like their act. And then Shirley yells it one more time and they bow when they get out. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Laverne... Go ahead.
I was just thinking about the get out of here, and then when Shirley gets everybody out, it goes, I'm a born leader.
That happens when she drags Laverne out to the pizza bowl.
You're right. Sorry, my notes get a little out of order at this point because of my reviewing process.
It's okay. I love that line, though. That is such a great moment, and Cindy delivers it. Boffo. It's perfect. I love that little scene where Shirley's just done with Frank and Laverne fighting all the time. And apparently she fields phone calls from Frank where he's screaming Italian curse words in her ear because Laverne is out and avoiding his calls. That's best friendhood, but geez, Frank. Frank is like weirdly overbearing and possessive this season.
Yeah.
Like even more so than he was before.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of really shows up over the next few episodes. In this episode, it shows up in Laverne and Shirley Move In, where he's like way over the top. Yeah. And then he's not like that in other episodes, so it's not consistent. I don't know.
He's got his good days and his bad days.
Yeah. And of course, Edna's doing all the yeoman work here, trying to get Frank to speak to his daughter, twisting his mustache, telling him, I want to see Happy.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good. That is so good. Also, Edna's outfit is amazing.
Yes.
I love that outfit on her. This particular episode is gorgeous.
Edna's outfits through, I will, as much as I have my misgivings about this season, her outfits through the season have been fantastic across the board, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's picking up. You're going to like this season a lot more by the time we get towards Lenny's crush. Like, we have a couple of uneven spots in Blue Show, which is crap and all that kind of stuff, but there are some excellent episodes in this season. So if you're going to see more. And the festival's really good, too, I think.
Yeah, festival's really good.
So,
I mean, Carmine aside that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always have to do that caveat. Well, Carmine, yeah. When it comes to that episode. When it comes to that episode, folks. I love that when the two of them apologize to each other, and Laverne says she's sorry for ignoring Frank's call. He yells, "I knew it! I knew when I called you, you was there."
Yep, it's like the whole pride. His pride is just absolutely his undoing in any conversation. Oh
yeah. And the fact that it's not even less. It's less that he wants to control Laverne. He wants to make sure that she's safe all the time. And he can't accomplish that because Laverne's Laverne.
Yep.
And Laverne's a daredevil. So he has these moments, like in this episode, and thus he gets to yell at her about never answering his calls. The dead silence that either they chose to put in post-production or that the audience gives them when Laverne declares she's going to be an orphan from now on, and Frank declares that he can't believe that his daughter doesn't want to go see her mother's grave, is beautiful. It just punches home even harder what a big moment this is. I don't know whose choice that was, but it's very fascinating, very well done, very impactful.
It's good. And it also, I think, comes up to a note you had earlier that I made sure to jot down, how people 100% go to the Pizza Bowl just for the drama on display.
Yes.
And this is an argument they got a lot more than they bargained for.
Yeah. Even better when Shirley finally runs home. She had to run home because Laverne took the car. She runs home and has to tell her that everybody in the Pizza Bowl had an opinion about the whole situation. So people are definitely coming there for the drama. They're definitely coming there just to watch Frank and his daughter be dramatic and possibly their friends being dramatic.
Yep.
The line is...
Yeah, was it? Yeah.
So go ahead.
The line is, so everyone knows that, I don't want to go to my mother's grave. Well, just me and Edna and the customers at the Pizza Bowl and a few people out on the street. Yeah. Your father's not a quiet man, you know.
Yeah. And then the follow-up line that everybody thinks she's a horrible daughter. No, just adding in the customers at the pizza bowl. People on the street didn't want to get involved.
Right.
Beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
Yep.
And then we find out that it was Laverne who taught Shirley the facts of life, and Laverne learned them from Filthy Tony Bacconi in study hall, who sounds like a great character. We never meet him. He sounds hilarious.
Yep. It's an interesting. I mean, it's an interesting. I love it. How could you spend time with them? It was an interesting subject.
Yeah, yeah. He wore his underwear on his head.
God.
Oh gosh! And then Laverne talking about how she, which is very apparently rings very true. It rings true as someone who doesn't have a mother anymore, but for people who lost their mom even earlier than I happen to have, apparently all the stuff about learning how to shave your legs by yourself, how high you're supposed to shave them, and various other things that happen to biological people who have uteruses. People who now I want to say people who identify as female. People who have uteruses, people who experience periods, and people who have to shave their legs or want to shave their legs when they go out and are in society. And apparently this rings true for them, and it's really beautifully handled. This whole scene is lovely.
It is.
In a lot of ways, and it's funny. It's lovely and funny at the same time, which is the show when it does serial comic stuff at its best. And it's wonderful. Yeah.
I mean, even I caught this detail. I have a note of Laverne drinking from the bottle of milk. My note is Laverne, don't drink from the bottle. Ah, God,
Well, at this point, she needs it more than Shirley. She's sitting there just picking away at an apple.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and exactly as you're saying, just a little, it's very poignant, it's very real. And then even the game about making each other laugh, and she has that face that she does. But then it brings you back home, and then
Yeah, the way Penny delivers the line and then she died.
Oh,
just,
God.
Right through the chest.
Yeah.
She's so good. We do get a little bit more of Shirley's relationship with Barb, which is really good.
Yeah.
Because we find out that Barb wouldn't let her shave her legs, and she went to the homecoming dance in knee socks. And yet they have a good relationship on some degree, to some level, and to some degree. Which is fascinating if you think about it. Because Barb makes Shirley so anxious. And it's fascinating to think that on some level and in some way they have experienced good times together. So, yeah, it's a nice little side note. But, yeah. Nobody understands what Laverne is going through but Lenny. This is a great... I'll try not to get too shippy in this point, but...
Oh, no, honey, come on. Just...
Do you want me to tell everybody what you said in the chat when we watched this episode?
In a minute, we'll get to the Lenny bit in a moment, but there was.
I was going to mention before we get there that Laverne's mother must have died before she hit puberty, and yet Shirley never met her. We learn later in the episode, so she must have died awfully soon after they moved to Milwaukee, but before Laverne started either kindergarten or first grade. So we got kind of a timeline for how things went. Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it's very wibbly wobbly. Yeah.
Now we can get to that scene.
The one thing I just was going to mention, my mother really liked this episode. I watched this. This is of this batch of 5. This is one of the ones I really wanted to make sure she saw, and she her deep sympathies for Laverne. Just mentioning that. What she really liked, or what she really wanted to see, what she felt was sad, was that she's commenting, it's like Laverne needs a grief counselor, needs to talk to someone whose mother died, because she doesn't, and also she doesn't have to go. Why don't they let her not go? It was just really interesting. And I think that ties into what happens with Lenny, because Lenny, he doesn't have to force her to convince her.
Yeah. He points out that she doesn't have to go, that it doesn't mean she doesn't love her any less. He points it out directly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is one of the best scenes that Michael and Penny ever get to act out together. during the show's run. They get a lot of good moments and a lot of good episodes, and Look Before You Leap is up there, and Lenny's Crush is coming in a few episodes. But they're firing on all cylinders in this scene. And we go through all sorts of emotions and all sorts of feelings. And the two of them just are fabulous.
Yep.
Ooh, it's emotionally impactful. This is how we learn that Lenny was physically abused as a child by his mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that his mother abandoned him on his 5th birthday and left him alone with his cake. Said she was going to go get candles, and she never came back. Which is, right through the chest.
Yeah.
Right through the chest.
Yeah, that is a type of abandonment that it's difficult to imagine. And if you can imagine, it's pretty horrifying. Because it's there's that line he says about, like he doesn't even have a grave to go to,
Yeah. Goes on the bus stop and gets misty sometimes.
Right. Which is funny. I got to laugh out of me. I got to laugh out of my mom. But at the same time, it's also like, God, like you really think of that realistically, that there's times when like he misses her or he's just thinking about her. Maybe it is her birthday or it's his birthday and he just goes there for a minute just to think about it.
Yeah. One wonders how he copes with his birthday every year without thinking about that, or if he even celebrates it. That never gets addressed. Go ahead.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was going to ask if it gets addressed.
It doesn't. But it should have been.
Yeah. I did also love...
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, on a more humorous note, I did love that Laverne tries to put the flower gun in the vase.
Yes, yeah, and then she thinks he's trying to shoot her with flowers at first, and she grabs him by the arm and yanks him over the top of the couch. And this is a gun full of flowers from the Magic Act, and he tried to bring her the rabbit, but he could cram the rabbit, and the gun gets cranky. It's such a Lenny squeaky detail.
Yeah, it's a very pissed off bunny. It'll probably jam the cylinders with its poop pellets.
And bites him with his little teeth in absolute rage. But yeah. This is yet another bond that the two of them share. And this is yet another moment where the two of them can't talk to anybody else in the whole world, but they can talk to each other.
Yep.
And the other person will understand completely. And God, there's a lot of great dialogue in this scene. Like, I ate the cake. I had no choice, Laverne. It's like,
yeah. And that's when we stopped being in pictures together.
Yeah. He's in total denial about having been abused that way, which is probably the only way he can cope with it.
And that's probably why he gets beaten up by, either because of Squig or sometimes by Squig quite often.
Yeah. And that's why in the proposal scene is up. That is why the proposal scene contains the line, "I fucking never hit you or nothing." So there you go. That's what he saw in his household growing up.
Yep. And as I think we can restate, as we put in Look Before You Leap, is we don't think he has it in him. We do not believe that Leonard Kozlowski has it in him to hit his wife or really hit any woman, and especially not Laverne.
Yeah. He knows Laverne will kill him.
Yes.
Without hesitation. She'll murder.
I mean,
go ahead.
The smack she gives him for just offending her.
Yeah. Penny just generally just wailed on Michael's face, didn't she?
Pretty much. Yeah. Those are interesting scenes to do because you often you actually have to take the hit, and you can try to hold back. I mean, I've never been the one to strike the other person. I've been the one who's been struck, and it's and often, as soon as it really connects and you really hear it, like you really put a lot of meat, a little steak on it, and it's like kapow. Often, it's like calls cut, and the other person's like, "Oh, Jesus, are you okay?" They get they feel really horrible about it. But yeah, no, they're interesting scenes to do because you need that energy, and you notice that Michael takes it and carries it. And maybe it's me you hate then line that comes after that, which is God, the way that he delivers that line is what kind of started to break me in this scene. Like it already was like, it's already emotional, but like that's a very like, he's trying to help her and he cares and he loves her, and then he takes the hit and it's like, well, I guess, and it's like, it's so pitiful, he's so small.
Yeah. And he blames himself, because then we get into the part where he talks about his self-loathing and Laverne talks about her self-loathing. The part that breaks me happens right afterwards when she says, "The only person I hate is me." And then she sits down and she starts to cry, And he makes a motion towards her like he wants to grab her and hug her and hold her, but he knows if he touches her, she might hit him. So he's not going to do it.
Yep.
He doesn't know what the right thing to do is. And that's gorgeous. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous.
And it's very Lenny too. It's like, but touch, if no, maybe possible, but hit, and because it's like he's read the moment correctly, which is that she probably doesn't want that much intimacy, but at the same time, it's like he doesn't want to feel like he's doing nothing. He has to be present.
Yeah, and he would want to hug her. Normally, he would just hug her, but she has made it very clear that if he touches her, she will hit him again, and he does not want to put himself through that. My next note is literally Len Honey, which is just that's it. That's this part of the episode to a T.
Yep.
The whole conversation that ensues is perfect, pitch perfect, and how comforting the whole situation manages to become. In that, basically he tells her that you're not a bad person if you don't want to go. You need to figure it out for yourself. But at least you got somewhere to go. I understand what it feels like for you. He never tries to tell her how she should feel about something.
Mm-hmm.
He always says, "Isn't this how you feel?" And this comes up again in a Beatnik show in season 5 when they have another heart-to-heart. They're going to have another one in season 6 and another one in season 7. And now I have to bring up what you said while we were watching this part of the episode. How is this not leading anywhere?
Yeah, okay, because part of my understanding of the show, first really understanding it all, aside from "Hello Lavoine, hello Shoyle" coming up as a line on Mystery Science Theater, was your hardcore Laverne feels, and when you, like I said, when you see certain shows that have a famous, or at least the very least a very impassioned ship that you're aware of. And you start to see the clues. And in this case, I look at this episode, like when I consider Look Before You Leap, actually, Hi Neighbor, Look Before You Leap, Hi Neighbor Book 2, and then this one.
Yeah.
And probably a couple of others in the middle.
Yeah.
It's like one of those, are you kidding me? What is wrong with this writing room to not say, great, this is going well. We should make this the end of the show.
Yeah, that should have been Endgame. Ultimately, and this is basically, David has said this much, Michael has said this much, even Penny said this much as a couple of times. They should have just ultimately decided somewhere around season 7, okay, Carmine and Shirley are Endgame, Laverne and Lenny are Endgame, how do we get there? Before everybody gets tired and the network kicks us off the air. They should have decided on an ending. That's the problem with Laverne and Shirley, there is no actual ending.
Mm-hmm.
They had to give an ending like 25 plus years later. I think it's almost 25 years, 15 years later, on a network special. So,
God.
Yeah, that's what they should have done, because there's so many hits. Debutante Ball, we should have mentioned Debutante Ball.
Oh, yep, that's the other one.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's a great piece of like setup for this being Endgame. Yeah, totally. Yeah. It would be better one than the Avengers one.
It feels like something's building. You feel like you're being told something is going to happen. And the characters are becoming more and more emotionally intimate with one another. And they're getting closer and closer. Laverne of season 1 would literally not let Lenny touch her. She would literally not kiss him. She was repulsed by his kiss. And now we're in season 4 and she willingly kisses his cheek as a form of thank you. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's development, and that should have been leading somewhere. Yes.
Yeah. And agreed. And
yeah. Go.
The speaking of the kiss itself, it's so sweet, and how she makes sure to do it on the other cheek, not the one that was struck, so that it's still tender, like that. Even that little extra layer is like, that is so perfect. It's so sweet.
And the way she touches his face, and the way he kind of goes when she almost kisses him on that cheek, and then she kisses the other one, and the way she kisses him, which is very careful and very gentle. It's perfect. Mm-hmm. And then his giggle afterwards because he's getting kissed by Laverne.
Yeah, don't giggle, Len.
Don't giggle, Len. He giggles every time she touches him.
Yeah.
Willingly. And
the grin when, she tells him not to giggle and he's like, "K."
Yeah. And then he trips over everything, which is what he did after High Neighbor Book 2 when she actually kissed him willingly on the mouth. And he just falls over his own feet, and then she tells him to stay off the roof.
And then the clatter smash.
Yeah. Yep. By the way, Lenny has been on the roof apparently at some point and fallen off of it multiple times at this point in canon, yet we know he was also afraid of heights. I'm wondering, I know this was an intentional thought process or a through line here, but Lenny's visibly afraid when he climbs that grease pole in the festival, but one wonders if they almost used that detail, saw that, went and decided he's not afraid of heights anymore because of that.
That'd be an interesting piece of detail.
Yeah. I'm sure nobody thought of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to know, because that doesn't make sense. We know he's been afraid of heights since season 2. But, so this brings us to the next scene, in which Laverne does indeed go to the cemetery in a sailor suit, and sees her dad, sees Pop, and Shirley comes with her, and there are emotions, and it is good.
It is good. Frank's whole thing talking to her, visiting, which also, before I forget, I have my note here. Of course, it is Pfister Memorial Cemetery.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about Frank, and I think is it's something that comes up from time to time, is that he is so proud of Laverne. He may not tell her to her face.
Yes.
But and he does end up doing so here, but he's and I love how he it's one of those I'm of my spiritual belief is such that there's no use lying to the dead. They'll know. But I love how he says, you'd be so proud of her. She's so busy. It's why she couldn't come down here. Like he has to come up with an excuse because he's disappointed in her, but he loves her, and he wants Josephine to be proud of her.
Yeah. And to rest easily. And to think that he's done a good job with her.
Exactly. Yeah. He's done the best that he can.
Yeah. Then surprise Josephine, she came. That's so cute.
I know. Yeah, and it's like Mr. Rosini, Miss Rosini, my daughter. Yeah, look, check it out.
Oh, that part's so sweet.
I mean, it's like he finally gets it. And I love that it's kind of like he had the time to think about it and come to the off camera, basically, to realize it was difficult for her, and he rewards her with so much love and so much praise, and that really means a lot. That because I think that's one of Frank's issues, is that he keeps doing things under the threat of violence, and it's like the promise of reward is a good, and especially for someone like Laverne who can be, especially in a situation like this, is so scared. It means a lot.
One has a feeling that Edna worked on him off camera.
Yeah.
She kind of yelled at him a little bit, and even though she didn't initially approve, according to Shirley, of Laverne not going, she kind of had that light bulb moment. Possibly she has dead husbands that she can't visit because she's in another town. Possibly she knows what it feels like for Laverne, and she had a light bulb moment and talked to Frank and said, stop putting pressure on her, she'll come when she wants to. Come when she's able to.
Right.
Everything about Shirley entering and then scaring poor Laverne, and then
oh my god,
Shirley's so natural in a cemetery. That's what's interesting about that scene. She's just fearless, and she's just almost doing a stand-up comedy routine in a way. Sure, she's a little boy crazy.
Yep.
Then that goodbye, everybody.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I actually have written down so many of these notes for like lines of dialogue, and like even it's like Shirley, it's like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to see how things were getting along, and it's like they're gonna get along. It says they're gonna get along, Shirley. Come on.
That is pure Shirley, her hostishness combined with her ability to kind of work a crowd. She's very good at working a crowd. She is, in a way, a born leader, and knows how to grab people by the hand and yank them along. And she literally does to Laverne during this episode.
And sometimes grab them by the hair if necessary.
Yeah, the hair. Yeah. Yep, until they twitch. Grab them. Give them a good old Vulcan neck pinch. Go Vulcan nerve grip.
Which reminds me, we didn't mention Frank getting the mustache twitch from twist by Edna.
Yeah, because Shirley's twisting Laverne's ear at the same time. Like father, like daughter. It's perfect. I love that last bit where Laverne makes that face and she says, "I thought you could use a good laugh." It's just so good, so good, so good, so good.
Yep.
If any episode of this show deserved to be nominated for an Emmy, this is the episode for writing alone because it's real good. It's beautiful. It's funny, as in the show's mean, and yet it is so tender and warm and real and humanist. Fabulous.
And yet it's fearless enough to be funny as well as to be poignant.
Yes. Exactly. So we learn here that Laverne's mom is named Josephine. That comes up a couple more times. She also had an aunt named Josephine, which must have been confusing when the Fazios were in Brooklyn. But I don't know if they just recycled the name.
It's a good question. Yeah. Not to mention that.
Also interesting, Laverne has a freckle in a weird spot that turned up an even worse spot. Just speculate about where it is, guys.
Yeah. You figure it out. We'll talk. We'll compare. We'll compare notes on the Twitter at some point.
Yeah, leave your comments here. If you like and subscribe.
Bow down before the gods of like, comment, and subscribe.
And of course, ring the bell.
Oh God! Oh no! Oh, the subscription
bell.
Oh,
always do the bell. You'll never get the notes.
Future me, put a bell noise in there. Thank you. Anyway, okay. But yeah, this episode, my God, the feelings, trademark, the feelings.
My heart. So we get to the tax scene, which is really funny, and it puts a little button on the boys' magic act.
Yep. And apparently talks about a public office raccoon going to Congress.
Yes, the raccoon that went to Congress. At this point, we could use raccoons in Congress. And that definitely sounds like something that would be on the Wonderful World of Disney in the early 60s. So kudos to the writers, because they had all kinds of stuff like that in the Wonderful World of Disney at that point. Now all their movies, all the live action movies in the 60s definitely had Wacky Animal Does X. As a plot line, so that was a good choice by Duclaw and Leshen. Excellent work, y'all.
But suddenly they're interrupted by the great Squittini
and his lovely assistant, Lenny. Lenny is how he pronounces it, I have to believe.
Yeah, it's Lenny. Yeah.
Yes, Lenny.
Maybe that's how the Lenny is how it's pronounced in Chrono Trigger as well. You know, the Lenny bell, the Lenny bell, or
there
Lenny.
You go.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, Squiggy gets into the trunk. He's supposed to release himself. Lenny and the girls sit there and watch him. And then Carmine bursts in yelling about free beer at the pizza bowl, and everyone runs to go get free beer. Which is weird because you think they'd all be getting free beer from Frank at this point. But, you know.
He's got to run a business. And also might help pay for the liquor license.
True. I imagine it's for Josephine's birthday and celebration, so.
Yeah.
Probably all the taps are open. And everybody runs out and leaves Squiggy there in the dark, in the trunk. And he fears darkness, the poor guy.
Oh, that's right. He's afraid of the dark, but at least he's got little holes that he can breathe through.
Yes. I made sure they were small enough to breathe through, but not big enough to crawl out of. Which is such a Lenny line. It's so perfect. Oh, gosh. Okay. And now it's time for us to rank this baby, I think, unless you get some more notes.
I only had a thought is I hope maybe he's got I'm hoping, I'm just going to headcanon that Squiggy in the trunk, when he comes out, it turns out there was a moth in there and they're married.
Oh, yes. His true love, his absolute true love would be the moth.
I mean, he'll be a widower within a week or two, but you know.
Well, he knows how long the gestation period of a moth is, to quote him from earlier in the season.
So he'll it'll be a good marriage, a short-lived marriage, but it'll be all right. It'll be good.
My headcanon is that he stubbornly jerked that trunk up the stairs, thud by thud, by shoving his body against the side of that trunk, and he rolled end over end to the pizza bowl.
That
And he ends up in there. Yeah. And then Lenny has to pour beer through the holes so he can drink it.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's good.
Because he would. He's that stubborn.
All right, ranking.
Yes.
I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this a 9.5, maybe a 10. To be honest, this is easily my favorite of the season so far, and it's one of my favorites of the show. This is powerful. It's moving. Pretty much almost every line is perfect. Almost every line delivery is perfect.
Yes.
You mentioned this was a palate cleanser. You were not kidding. I can't even believe that this is the same show from the same director, some of the same writing staff. I'm blown away. This is wonderful.
It's a 10. Do not miss this episode. It's so good. It is so good. Everything about it is so good. And even setting my little dumb little shippy feelings aside, the writing is fantabulous. The way it's directed is beautiful. Klein does a great job with this. And when you can make a obviously fake cemetery set look lifelike like that, you're doing a great job. Like I said, all the line deliveries, all the dialogue, the direction, the performances. Michael and Penny do such a good job. Cindy does good work too. Phil Foster does a lot of great work in this. Betty Garrett is always doing her yeoman's job without getting a lot of focus in the plot, unfortunately. Because you kind of wonder how she feels about this.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
in this relationship with Frank, and he's still going to the cemetery. He's still got a lot of feeling. She probably knows how he feels, but it would be nice to get a couple lines addressing that. But I'm not dunning it for that in any manner or for any reason. So this is a solid 10. Perfect episode.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess if that covers everything for today, I guess if you would like to know more and if you would like to join us in further discussion, you can find us at Night After Night PC on Twitter or Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, Patreon, or WordPress. And that should be good times, and hopefully the good times will continue. Lisa, what do we have next? I feel like a little bit of a thunder or a rumbling sensation is going on in the room here.
Next episode, Laverne goes to Chicago to try to audition for West Side Story. The boys come with her, Carmine comes with her, but will she get the part? This will be a chorus line, and we have a special guest for that episode as well.
Magnifique. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Hopefully you will join us, and will our mystery guests sign in, please. Oh wait, they're not here yet. Never mind. Okay.
Bye, y'all.